It's very hard to pause that music. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special thing I've been wanting to do for a little while now. Welcome to Dota News. This is something I'd like to, not really like personally address, more or less, but this is the first news show I'm going to do for Dota, but I plan to keep doing it up until the international, and hopefully I could get some team interviews sometime between now and then, which will be done on a completely different note with a completely different mindset and so on and so forth from there. But thank you all for joining me. We've got 4 total topics I believe we're talking about today. If I just go quickly over to our main camera here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we have 5 total topics we're going to talk about today. The first one is mostly we're going to be talking about how a lot of teams are picking up new players, because that's how the international goes. You know how it is. Everybody drafts new players as soon as it's the start of the new season, even though TI is right around the corner. First and foremost, the one that I want to look at in particular right off the get-go is this. BSJ is joining Team Liquid. Now, my first initial thought is what everybody else's thought is that, man, BSJ really must hate NA Dota.
That's it.
I love the little video they have with
Hey,
the
oh,
Pope.
come join the picture. Alright, now keep the pose.
And I love the Liquid players
right,
too.
BSJ. Hell yeah.
But this was something I wasn't expecting at all. So, what this means exactly is that BSJ is likely not going to either commentate into TI, or he will end up being a commentator for TI, but he's likely going to be considered a, he's likely going to be a, he could just be a what's the word I'm looking for? Content creator for Team Liquid. That I'm not 100% certain about at the moment, but as we can see, he's got a lot of promotionals, and my main question is he joining as a partner streamer or some other role? But I'm not 100% certain on what he is joining in as. The first thought is that he is going to be a player or a coach, and then the second thought is that he's just going to be a streamer for Team Liquid in particular. I don't think he's changed anything quite yet, but we'll figure that out soon. Speaking of joining, though, we have another player coming into the department, and that is actually Sumail joining OG. Now, this is something that wasn't entirely surprising to me, because Anna has ended up leaving OG, which is a big, not really a big surprise. I mean, they've won 2 internationals. I mean, why wouldn't you retire, right? You've got a big chunk of cash in your pocket, and you have 2 international wins on your shoulder. You can literally do whatever you want. So with Anna disappearing, not disappearing, but leaving OG, leaving a spot open for Sumail to come back into play for OG. Now, they do have a whole entire thread that they've made, which I've read nothing about, but it is on their OG homepage that they talk about how Sumail has joined OG. It's always been a pleasure for us to work with such talented and hard-working players. Sumail has always been one of my favorite teammates and players. We're thrilled to have him back, and personally delighted to have him back in OG. Now, we can also see his OG qualifier roster, the OG TI rosters. Now we see it's Sumail, Topson, Seb, Saksa, and No-Tail. Pretty good, strong team overall for OG, but again, they are going through the qualifiers, so that's going to be a little bit of a difficult trial for them, I imagine, to try to get through. Now, the next topic we're going to talk about, we're done talking about players joining teams, because there's quite a few things that also changed in that department as well. Some teams left some smaller teams, and so on and so forth. But next is something that a lot of people have been seeing out on Twitter quite often right now, which 4 of our 5 total topics are going to be on Twitter, is that ESL hiring, the ESL hiring issue at the moment. Strictly, they have hired only male talent. Now, in a normal day-to-day, I imagine that it was ESL, they were trying to maybe get somebody to come on stage for female talent, but the thing is that ESL is also now DreamHack, and DreamHack love the hell out of Moxie. Moxie is my first thought that I would have thought on this list to be on. And not to mention, Moxie and Purge is actually an amazing casting combo. And I would have loved to see that at this event. But the other scenario that people are also thinking of is that these these casters and talent are already kind of close by with casting the last major over for WePlay. A lot of these casters are literally right next door, so they're pretty much just getting transferred to go over like one major location, and they're gonna go cast at the ESL station. But the biggest issue is that this is putting in a lot of backlash because there is absolutely no female representation, and according to many other people, it is actually just a bunch of white guys. So that's apparently one of the other big scenarios, but mostly it's there needs to be a more female presence in this. Like this is a really big no for this point in the era of Dota 2. We've gotten past the point of having only male talents. There are at least 4 people I can think of off the top of my head, because they're even in this thread here down in the quotes and everything like that. You've got Moxie, we had Effie in the last major, then we've got Shiver as well. I mean, there's quite a few people. I think Shiver wanted to take a break though because OD is still having health issues. So that's not entirely surprised by this one, but yeah, the overall comments is that it is literally just all guys that are going on this one. So a little bit of a hard run at this one overall. Getting a lot of backlash for this one, and ESL maybe needing to reassess the situation with this lineup. Unfortunately, it starts June 16th. It is June 15th today, so there's not really a chance to pick up somebody at the last minute. Of course, unless they do exactly that and pick up somebody at the last minute. Speaking of the major, though, the major has now concluded. WePlay's champions have now been crowned. We've already been seeing this, though. You saw it all over Twitter. This, of course, was 2 days ago. It is PSG.LGD who end up taking the victory against EG in a convincing 3-0 victory, putting North American Dota to an immediate shame in a best-of-5 final. They get 3-0'd. That's I don't want to say that's never happened in the history of Dota, but it is something that's surprising, I'd say, at the end of the day, to see that it is a 3-0 in a grand final of a major after, you know, so long that we've been literally not doing anything in major scenes. But yeah, PSG.LGD, again, congratulations for getting the major title. And now they get to go to TI. One of the 8 teams through points end up making it through TI here. 8 teams. I think it's like 10. I don't actually know the number. That'll be covered in a different episode of Dota 2 news. Next, we have the thread that everybody is sort of talking about that happened during the major. It is the BSJ that's the wrong one. The BSJ biased caster thread. Now, the thing is about BSJ, all right. I met Brian at Summit of last year before COVID kind of kicked in. Brian, when I first think of him, is not a caster that I would say isn't biased. However, the way that this thread approaches it and the way that people are interpreting this is completely wrong. BSJ's casting style is to sound slightly biased in the first place. And that's why people like BSJ, because he has that light sort of sarcastic bias about the whole entire scenario of casting. And when I met Brian at Summit last year, that still reverberates to the Brian of this year. And I really don't think that BSJ is, in fact, the biased caster people are pulling off to be on here. Now, the problem is that this video is going to go live on Reddit once we're done with it. So, hello, Reddit. I'm sure that you're going to slag on me, too. If you want to know that, I'm Party Petey. You're going to see it posted by me. I've casted stuff before, and I'm definitely biased to certain teams as well. But the thing is that the way that you guys are kind of approaching this one on the Reddit thread here, and the fact that it, once again, was 3 days ago, but with 3K upvotes, is insane. Because the thing is that this is BSJ's casting style, and if you're not really used to his slightly sarcastic, biased commentation, then you probably don't really listen to BSJ in general. Like, if you listen to BSJ on streams, he sounds biased on streams. He sounds biased everywhere. BSJ is born to be biased. It's probably what the first letter means. I know it's banana, but still. Like, everybody is biased about it. And that's pretty much it. I mean, in this scenario, I'd be biased versus Quincy Crew. I'd be biased versus EG. They're both teams I'd be biased of in this scenario. So, I mean, that's just the thing, though, too, is that BSJ isn't really an NA Dota fan, and now people are slagging on him for casting NA Dota the way that he casted NA Dota before he moved to EU. And now he's in EU, and now he's permanently in EU with Team Liquid. But giving this thread an overall look, like, the thread itself is still kind of hitting the nail on the head on his casting style, but this is exactly how he ended up casting before. So I get it that, yes, BSJ does come off as a biased caster, but he doesn't need a thread like this and then the comments like this who literally destroy the hell out of this. The thing is, I love that the mod does open up immediately. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. Voicing it is fine, but there's no need for personal attacks. Which, as you further go down, these personal attacks are kind of like over the board here, but it's been 3 days, so I think the mods have deleted all of the personal attacks that happened in this thread overall. But that is actually going to do it now for the rest of our news thread. I know I ended it on such a weird last bit because it's now the BSJ thread, which is the last little bit of the whole entire scenario here. But I assure you, there's going to be a lot more news. Wow, this really puts a dark on my beard. My beard does not look that dark. This is, I mean, that's going to be a weird way to put it off, I'd say. But I really enjoy doing this news show. I'm likely going to do more episodes as time goes by and the international comes even closer and ESL starts production. There's going to be even more news coming out of the ESL stuff as well. So I hope you thoroughly enjoyed this video. It was a lot of fun to make, and likely we're going to be doing a lot more of the Dota 2 news, as well as coming out with another series that's going to be called the International Interviews. I'm going to try to interview as many international attending teams as possible before the qualifiers claims new teams and before the international itself starts. Of course, they're going to be doing interviews of those teams themselves, but I would like to get personal one-on-one time with either their coach or their players as much as humanly possible before that time comes. So if you like what you watched here, please stay tuned as we're going to have more content like this, as well as the international interviews on this channel very soon. I hope you enjoyed, and this is Party PD, signing off.